I don't even know if I have the thing up yet.
You gotta trust the computer overlords.
There we go. It's Thanksgiving Eve. And we're getting ready to start. So we'll see you all. I'm still gonna play our new one with Ken's song.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey, hey, Mike, what do you see? A Falcon that inflates for free. Hey, hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy far. The Falcon's ready, let's raise the bar. Hey! 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 Hey, hey, Mike, what do you see? A Falcon that inflates for free. Hey, hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Hey! Hey! Left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy.
Here we are. Thanksgiving Eve. Layout.
Yes,
Is Thanksgiving like you think Life Day is like a combo of Thanksgiving and Christmas?
in the Star Wars universe, I'd probably say so.
Yeah.
Because they talk about peace and harmony and love and getting
That's
together.
not usually not Thanksgiving. Usually it's Thanksgiving. Everyone's arguing with that weird uncle.
Yeah, but that's either over football or politics.
That's true. That's true.
You know, although I have heard arguments over what's the best kind of stuffing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, or you have the family member who's always made the stuffing, and then that one year, some upstart new wife or husband that's just joined the family decides to make it.
Yeah,
And then
or
it's
worse, they bring it and don't tell anyone, and now you've got two stuffings to pick from.
right. It's passively aggressively insulted
Yeah.
the whole time. Oh, you decided not to cook your onions first.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't prefer it. It's not my least favorite stuffing that I've ever had. I mean, I've had worse.
Right.
But then again, as a kid, I used to eat dirt too, so it's not really saying much.
Right. So before we get started, Ken, where can people find you in all your adventures?
Well, tomorrow you'll find me at a table, chowing down on delicious stuff. But when I'm not on the Falcon with you, you can find me bounty hunting it across the galaxy with Todd. Sometimes, speaking of sitting around tables, sometimes I'm sitting around the Dejeric table with Rob, David, and Tom from the guys from the Bantha Milk podcast. And then every so often, maybe once a month or so, I put together an episode of the Rambling Star Wars Fan. And I know you're super busy too. What kind of stuff are you doing?
Well, you can find me here every week. Though next week I can't be here. So that's up to you if you want to continue the show. But Zoe is home. So chances are we're going to be packing in 365 days of family in that. But who's to say?
There's that one vegan.
Yeah, there's that one vegan, that shows up. And you can find me CreatiCast. Eventually we'll be getting our butts in gear for CreatiCast. I think because Safi and I have a couple things we're working on over break that we might be able to sneak in an episode. And then so that's where you can find me on this. But Star Wars Geek Girl, helping out with Star Wars Geek Girl. So but normally this weekly thing that you and I do and have so much fun. I am going to hit Zoe up next week when she's on home. Is she wants to take the reins of the Golden Tauntaun, and when I say she wants to, I think she just agreed, so I would shut up and quit asking her about it. So hopefully that her and Lizzie can work their magic, and we can get a star-studded Golden Tauntauns. So
are we involved in this, or
no? We'll be involved in it, but they're going to do the heavy lifting. We're just going to show up and be able to give our.
Okay. So I want to make sure I understood all the details.
No, I was just trying to pawn it off on them, just because you and I we seem to do okay, but we I didn't think we needed one more thing on our plate at the moment.
Not on Thanksgiving Eve, that's for sure.
No, right? Well, no,
got to leave room for cranberry sauce,
right?
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah. So, any costume work? So my goal before, I don't know when, maybe the end of the year, I want to have bumpers in between our segments.
Yeah.
I feel like we're starting to get the hang of some other things, but any costume work where you can. In costume, are we calling it Costume Corner?
We can. We have called it Costume Corner in the past.
Any costume work?
Well, in preparation for Thanksgiving, I've been filling out my costume. So I've been, putting on the pre-holiday weight gain.
Oh yeah. Well, that's it's good to put it on before the holiday, and then
because like with my bear relatives, we put on some extra weight in the winter. I don't get the benefit of hibernating, but at least I have the benefit of bulking up for the winter. Got to stay warm and stuff like that.
Nice.
But how about you? Have you built anything or done anything?
I take it around with Vader a little more. Just I'm trying to get this. I printed another set of resin belt boxes because I wasn't 100% happy with these, and I'm about 90% happy with it's. I shouldn't be printing them in this cold weather, but I was messing around. But I'll probably do some wiring of them this if I feel motivated and the weather is good.
Well, not to distract you too much, but have you seen that? I think it might be Bamboo. They have a 3D printer that's like a transformer. And what I mean by that is you can take the print head off of it and put a laser head.
Oh yeah.
So that same machine can be both a printer and a cutter.
And well, I did get a small laser cutter for work at school to teach students how to do it, and I was amazingly surprised at how cheap it was. It was $135.
Really?
For a laser cut. It'll do 400 millimeter by 400 millimeter.
What's that in the English?
It's like 300 millimeter is a foot. So
okay.
So it just sits. Now the only problem was I was playing around with it at work, like trying to set it up and show some students, and it's supposed to have a sheet of metal underneath it. So now I have a permanent box cut on the one table. So I was like, what's a herd? I said to my one student who's on my robotics team, I was like, it can't be that bad if they didn't give you the piece of metal. So we ran it, and so I have a little box cut just through the one top of the laminate of one of the old table. Luckily, I put it on an old table. So
Safety, safety, safety.
yeah.
I so badly want to get one of those because I've seen people use them to print out like the panels,
Yeah.
the Star Wars dash panels or wall panels or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys do it with CNC machines too, with wood panels where they put it on CNC
Yeah.
and router it. It'll router it out. So I've seen, there's some really cool things you can do with them. But the price, like I said, that I've just because I got one for school, I was just kind of looking at all the different things. And there is a lot of things like you can etch plexiglass, so you can make you make your gauntlet screen. You can etch something on it and then put a backlight on it.
Oh, okay.
So, there is
So
some.
you control the depth of the cut.
Yeah, in theory, you control the percentage of the laser and the speed. So once, depending, the only downside to some of those is the software. A lot of times, the one we got, it's okay, and the software is okay. But if you want the really good software, then you have to subscribe to the software.
Of course.
So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could do all sorts of things with those. You can, and I've seen people. Someone said I could even try it with my Cricut with certain things like thinner flexible plexiglass. You can etch that and then put it over top a heavier piece.
Yeah, the etching part I get. I was just thinking more of the actual cutting part of it.
Yeah, it'll cut wood, depending, and plastic and all that stuff.
Tabletops.
Yeah, well, it cuts right nice into the tabletop. I burnt the school. Well, see what I have big in my tech room. I have big butcher block tables, like giant, they're probably 6x6 that the students work on, and they're old. So I'm going to scrub them up, and I'm going to take the logo of our School of Tech. It's like a 4-piece of, let's say, a circle, but it's 4 pieces of pie with different symbols. So I'm going to isolate each quarter and put the machine right on the table and burn it. So then my tables will have the School of Tech's logo in the middle of the table. That's
Well, that's kind of cool.
that's honestly, I'm learning to use it just for that reason. And then I can show my students in real time what it does.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is my first break this year. So I'm trying not to do work stuff and get stuff done, get myself back on track. So you have any trooping, or did you do any trooping?
I haven't. What I was going to do, because I've got to take some time off from work before the end of the year. I've got to take roughly a week off. So what I've decided to do is I've picked a couple Fridays and a couple Mondays. I've matched them up so that I can have longer weekends.
Oh, nice.
And so what I intend to do is get back into the forums and check out some dates for the beginning of 2026.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because I've felt that itch of, yes, I've only done one troop this year, but this coming year, 2026, I want to spend more time out there on the floor and seeing people and getting into costume again.
Yeah, well, and some people, like, I know I've been trooping since 07. January of 07 was when I first started. And I've had a few years that you just do one troop. Just life is in, the stars don't align for all the things you want to do or whatever, for whatever reason. And then you have those some years where you feel like every weekend you're trooping. So, but yeah, I'm going to troop in the Wilmington Christmas parade, which I with the Delaware First State Garrison.
Now, here's a goofy question: when you do a parade like that, you personally, do you dress up your TK to make it more festive?
I don't. Now, I'm old school. Like, I don't like, when they sell the Christmas Star Wars figures, I don't like that. I like Star Wars to be Star Wars, and I like Christmas to be Christmas. Now, I don't knock people that don't. It's cool to see a Vader with a hat on, Santa hat, but I just like to troop as a trooper.
You do realize Christmas is canon, though, right?
No, what?
Yes. In 1979?
Oh yeah, but they were dressed in their regular suits though.
Yeah, but it was still Christmas in the Stars. I mean,
Well, that's
they put out that entire Christmas record where Anthony Daniels was singing. He was talking about Santa Claus
that's
and bells,
true.
bells, bells. So there's Christmas in the Star Wars
Oh,
universe.
I know. And I've trooped with guys that have a Vader and it has a giant Santa hat that fits over the Vader dome,
Yeah,
and they have like a different cape lined with stuff, which is
or
really
even like a
cool.
garland of lights.
Yeah, and when Sappy did 000 one year, she wore instead of her belly wires, she wore Christmas lights one year.
Okay.
And so I'm all, but for me personally, I just like being a stormtrooper. Like I know some guys will do a parade, like they'll do the St. Patrick's Day, and they might wear like green or a kilt, or which I don't
Mhm.
think kilts go with Irish, but apparently sometimes some guys will do anything to wear a skirt. I guess I don't.
Well, I mean, they are comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and if you're wearing your TK, I often wonder if they don't wear the upper legs under the skirt. That's probably an easy way to wear a TK. Because it's those upper legs that give you the hardest problems in the TK.
Yeah, I would imagine because
Um,
you have to wear like not suspenders, but you have to wear something to hold the thigh
yeah,
pieces
depending on
in.
how your armor's built, like mine are hooked to a middle. I wear a belt separate. My legs are hooked to it, but a lot of guys it's hooked to the upper armor.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm hoping to troop that. I mean, unless something devastating happens between now and Saturday, I'll be in Wilmington, Delaware, trooping. So
Very cool.
get back into the swing of things. I think it's like 11 block troop. I don't know now. I don't know what their blocks are but like some of my first troops were the Mummers Day Parade.
Ah, okay.
So, which I don't think we do the Mummers anymore. But man, the Mummers that was a fun troop.
Yeah, I've heard tons about it. I've never actually watched it or even been to it, but I heard it's tons and tons of creative fun.
Yeah, we watched when I was a kid. We watched the Mummers all the time. Like my grandmother watched the Mummers, but
And
it's
that's around New Year's, right?
New Year's Day.
Okay.
We would have to be in we had to be down there at like 9 in the morning or something like that, or no 7 in the morning. You had to be in because they closed downtown for the parade, and I think we had to line up in the street by 9
Okay.
on New Year's Day in Philadelphia, and it was freezing.
Yeah, that's back when we actually had real winters.
Yeah. Well, one year we did a Rocky theme where a guy dressed in robes like Luke or something came up to Vader, and then all of a sudden the Rocky music played, and he threw his robe off, and he was
Duked it out.
And then one year we just busted through the door and killed a bunch of rebels. And I remember Old Sarge was like the first dude through, man. He like slaughtered that door, just shot everybody.
I'm
Like,
sure.
there wasn't anyone left for us to shoot with by the time we got through the door. So we did a float one year on the back of a truck, which was pretty cool. Except the one I remember the one Royal Guard was petrified because it was on a rollback, so they were sitting up really high. And
Oh,
so you see
goodness.
the Emperor sitting on his throne and a Royal Guard here, and the other Royal Guard's like hanging on to the edge of the chair so they didn't fall
Well,
off.
I'm also going to guess that based on the time that you're talking about, this is, prior to, safety being a major concern. Because now, like the Disney parades, if you watch those, or even like the big parades, they're all harnessed in. They're all
Oh yeah,
tethered
yeah, yeah.
tethered to the floats.
Yeah, this was in 08, 09,
Okay.
2010. We haven't done. I don't think we've done a Mummer since 2011 because I just think it was just hard to get people because then everyone started realizing, oh, wait a minute, I can't party on New Year's Eve because I got to get up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning and be. But it was fun. I mean, it was. I always enjoyed it. So, I mean, I think Safi was 4, I guess, the first time she did Mummers Parade as a
Oh, that's
Jawa.
cool.
So they were all bundled up as Jawas. They were the only ones warm. We were freezing.
Yeah, because you could put everything on under that thing.
Oh
No
yeah,
one's
yeah,
gonna know.
yeah. They were good to go.
It's like reverse trick or treating. I remember when I was a kid going out trick or treating, where sometimes you'd have to put the winter coat on over the costume,
yeah,
or
yeah,
if my mom and grandma made the costume bulky enough that we could put the winter coat on under the costume, depending on what the costume was.
yeah. Yeah, so that's our events. And I don't know if we didn't really have a topic for today. I mean, we have Thanksgiving, but I did want to mention your last Some of it's inside now. Wait a minute, what's that say? Some of it's inside now.
Inside where?
That's crazy. The bumpers is pretty cool. I mean, they're used like string bands or dancing routines. It's. I didn't appreciate it until I started making costumes, and you see the mummers costumes, and one of their costumes puts a lot of our costumes to shame. Like
Oh
they're
yeah, because some of them they take months plural to construct.
yeah, and they use it once, and then they go to a whole new one.
Yeah, because you can't wear the same mummer's costume
Oh my
2 years
goodness,
in a
can't,
row.
yeah.
That was last year's theme.
But
Can't do it this year.
we I was listening to the Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, your latest episode.
Okay.
I must have got it the first day it was up because it came across. I was in my car, and I thought that was a good. I think that's a must listen to episode for people,
thanks for that.
especially going into the holiday season. I think, I just think it's just one of those things that people need to think more of with all the things you guys talked about.
Well, and considering that here we are sitting on the eve of Thanksgiving, and some of the generic themes of Thanksgiving are togetherness, sharing, being grateful. I think if many of the fans, I use fans generically and in air quotes, if the fans really sat down and thought about Star Wars, it would be hard not to be appreciative or thankful either for the content that we get, the movies, the shows, the comic books, the toys, the clothes, the statues, the fake tattoos, all of those things, and the things that we've been able to do in response to it. I mean, how many events do you think you've been to, either as a costumer or just as a participant, where Star Wars was involved somehow?
Oh, I don't even think I could count. I mean, well, I'm just thinking of like, yeah, just what Star Wars has done for you and I.
Yeah. I mean, if
Yeah.
you would, I don't know how many folks that are listening now know, our origin story, but we happen to randomly be at the same armor party.
Right.
You came with Zoe, and you were showing people how to make little Mando coins with resin and dragon skin molds, and we got the chat, and then here we are several years later, having trooped together, having done a hosted couple panels together, been involved in fan films, and
Yeah.
we're talking years plural now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, over in someone's yard, and mainly just because Zoe needed a ride. Like I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go. I didn't know many of the Mandos back then. I mean, I knew some of them just from trooping with them, but I didn't know them. But yeah, well, back to your episode. It was just, I just thought it was a good. I know you. Todd was saying how it was completely unscripted, but it was unscripted in a good way. Like I think it was from the heart. So you don't need a script for that. Like you both talked about, where you came from. I didn't realize, I don't want Todd to feel bad about his profession, only because there's I'm glad to hear there's mechanics like him, like that are, and that must mean where he works is pretty decent to put up with him too. Because I was a parts guy, man, and I was at a Chevy dealer, and man, they used to beat those techs up if they didn't toe the line of, making sure everyone paid extra for their little widget and this and that. So
yeah, because it's built into all their metrics, oddly enough, at least nowadays it seems to be.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. I thought that was just a good episode. I mean, if we forget the fandom, whatever fandom you like, or whatever level you like it at, I think that helps a lot of people. And
One of
then
the things that amazes me about fandoms, and I don't know if it's always been this way, it just seems like it's a little bit more intense now than ever. And maybe it's just because I'm more sensitive to it, but I think in some instances, the fans have this unrealistic expectation that they're owed something. Like, even if
yeah,
we talk about, this is a Star Wars podcast, so we can spend a lot of time talking about Star Wars, um, when we're not talking about auto mechanics or vegan recipes or anything like that. Um, there are folks that say, "Oh, they should be telling us what they're going to put out next. They should be um, putting together X number of things every year. They should do the story this way because I've been watching it for so long, and that's what I think is best. So you should be doing that thing."
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think I do think the speed of the way things are nowadays, um, we tend to just guzzle instead of sip, you know, and we just should be patient. Like, I think of like because George did tell us all the stuff. He just told it in his own time. Like he told us how things were done and what his plan, and sometimes he even told what his plans were. No one was listening. They were more concerned about the flashy things on the screen. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the fans. It's just I think it's just that access. Like sometimes you can get so close. Like you can go to a con and see these people. Like the conventions have made it good for in some ways, but it's also it makes sometimes us a little ravenous.
Well, even beyond that access. So yeah, you can go to an event and be, physical contact, shake hands with Mark Hamill, and with some of the things that we have available to us now, like social media and things like that. Mark Hamill and I can comment back and forth to each other, either privately. I can send him a message and he can send me a message. Not that he has, and I'm still waiting for him
You're still waiting.
to get back to me. Him and Kristen Baver, as soon as
Yeah,
they respond, I'll be much happier. Um, but then there's this unrealistic thing, like, oh, now we're friends,
yeah.
and while I may comment on the same thing that Mark does, or Mark may even comment on something of mine, but that still doesn't mean that I have a right to tell him what to do or how to do it, or that what he's done is right, wrong, or otherwise.
Well, and I also sometimes think people don't understand how movies get made because I do laugh sometimes that the writers get so shortchanged, and especially the good writers. If you have a good actor with a good writer, the writer will never be known because the actors make it seem so real.
Well,
You know,
in most properties, I think Star Wars is one of those rare exceptions where, not only do we know the writer's name, oftentimes we know the the costume designers' names, we know the stunt performers' names, we know um, the inspiration that the writer got, or oh, this came from Hidden Fortress, or this was a remake of Heidi, or whatever it is.
well, I trace all that back to the original action figures. Like I still think back of, the first time you showed someone Star Wars back in the day, and then they talk about, you know, oh well, and you knew the name. I mean, they were terrible names, but you knew the toys' names, and you felt like you were just a little smarter, in the fandom. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Snaggletooth, and then if you were really in the know, you could talk about the action figure being made the wrong size. You can just
Or even
really
the
go to
wrong figure,
yeah,
like
yeah, the wrong
with Zuckus and Forlom.
Zuckus and Forlom. So yeah, I mean, that's and then well then after listening to you guys podcast, it made me think of like I wanted to technically talk tonight just about podcasting again in general but we always seem to talk about that, and then I started that took my mind down the rabbit hole. I was like, okay, what's the good podcast? And I was like, well, Ken and I have talked about that like over and over again. But then I was thinking, well, what did we do before we had podcasts? And then I was thinking, what was it? The Force.net. Do you remember that?
I remember it, but I didn't access it
It was
because
just fan films. Like when it first started, it was majority of fan films.
Was it fan films and forums though? Was there
There was forums, but the main what people went to, they went to originally to see these fan films, and it took forever to download such terrible quality fan film. But I was just thinking, and then that made me think of like have you watched all of or any of like Chad Vader?
I've watched some of it. Yeah, I haven't watched
So
all of it.
like Chad, my kids used to crack up at Chad because that's all we had. Like I just assumed we weren't ever going to get Star Wars. We had Chad Vader, and there was a Christmas animation on there where Santa and Vader were fighting. My girls used to love that when they would laugh at that all the time. It's probably saved on a whole hard drive somewhere here, from when they were little.
Well, you had the letters to the editor in things like Starlog and
Oh
in
yeah,
those kind of magazines, or even sometimes in some of the comic issues.
yeah,
There'd be a 1 or 2 pages of letters that fans wrote to, and sadly enough, we also had things like Bantha Tracks and Star Wars Insider, which is going to be putting out its
yes.
last episode soon.
Yeah. Mine verified. I'm getting my last episode. I called them, so my last issue of that. Yeah, I'm sad to see that go though. I will be more surprised if someone else doesn't pick something up like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if by summer there's some other publication filling out that same
Well,
niche.
it would be interesting is if StarWars.com itself didn't pick up more of that, because one of the things that Insider I think did a nice job of is having that connection back and forth between the makers, whether it was the makers of the magazine or other makers, the back and forth with fans. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you had mentioned a couple times that your family has either been featured in it or said submitted a letter or something that
yeah,
was then published for other fans around the globe to be able to read.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, especially since I joined the 501st, so 07, I always looked in the back first. Like I always looked in the back to see if like there was an event that some people I might have known were at, or someone in armor. Like that was always like. And then when the girls wound up in it a couple times, I was just like, I know my kids were in it because when I go through my bookshelf, if I have like 6 copies of that episode, I mean that issue, then that's the ones the kids were in. So
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
And that
Um,
makes me, coming back to the costuming clubs. Even though most of the costuming clubs, whether we're talking about the whole group, like the 501st, or the smaller portions of it, like Garrison Karita or Northeast Remnant or First State or whatever, fill in the blank
right.
of groups. I'm surprised that there isn't more of a dedicated, concentrated effort to broadcast more often. So, I'm going to guess, and this is just a wild guess, that somewhere in the world, every weekend, there's some sort of a troop happening.
Oh yeah. Well, there is the 501st cast. There is a 501st podcast. Now, I don't know the last time they had, but I used to listen to that regularly, and you could submit missions. Like you could type it up and say, "Hey," and they would post it. And so I listened to that, and I don't know what happened to the 501st cast.
Well, yeah, and that reinforces what I'm saying is there's all this stuff that's available to talk about or to share, and it isn't shared well or consistently, or
Well,
it doesn't seem like there's doesn't seem to have staying power. Like it ebbs and flows.
yeah, I mean, podcasting is hard. Like, I mean, not hard like breaking rocks hard, but there's all for every time you and I do this, we could probably easily come up with 10 excuses not to do it that night.
Yeah, of course. I gave you 9 today.
But yeah, so I mean, because we were talking off air a little bit, and I said something like, I think sometimes just being so connected that we're not connected at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at podcasts, I so again listening to you guys' podcast and how good I thought that last one was, and and I know it wasn't scripted, but like sometimes scripted ones need unscripted, and probably sometimes ones like ours need a scripted one, like the Empire Striketh Back or something like sometimes you need to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, if you do all that work, whether it's writing a script or just taking the time and doing a good podcast to give people something to watch or listen to or whatever, then I just keep thinking of what good ones are we missing? Because you and I aren't like God-like, and we can't just will the good podcasts. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping to expand my podcast listening. It's just there's so many hours in the day, and
So what if we did this? I know it's a little bit early. I mean, around the beginning of every year, folks do those New Year's resolution things. What if you and I, for 2026, make a resolution that every other month we're gonna find a new podcast and mention it here? And
yeah,
so, maybe the first month in January, because it's an odd month, I could do it. And then in
okay.
February, an even month, you could do it. And then in March, an odd month. So we'll
That's
take turns,
doable.
So for all of 2026, we have to find 6 podcasts to listen to and talk about,
Yeah,
to share. And to make it even more challenging, it should be ones that we haven't talked about before. Because if you've ever listened to this show before, you know that Rogue Rebels and Star Wars Geek Girl and Table Ready Painting and Lake Clan Legends and Bantha Milk Podcast and Around the Dejeric Table and the Pod Awakens, those are ones that we've talked about,
yeah.
or was it
Steel Wars.
Steel Wars, Blue Harvest. What's the one with Brian Young and
Full of Sith.
Full of Sith? Yep.
Yeah.
Or the Sky Talkers. We've talked about those, or even Blast Points. We've
Yeah.
talked about those historically, even if it was just a little bit about them. For 2026, it's new stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the Dad Batch. We can't talk about the Dad Batch because we've talked
Yeah.
about that in the past. So yeah,
Well-
let's do that.
Well, our Dad Batch listeners, they're all listening to them right now because they're live now too.
Yeah.
We-
Well, and they have a much bigger following. That is for sure.
Yes.
At least in the double digits.
But we have been doing ours longer, so
Yeah.
we can claim that. But yeah, no, I mean that's because then I see like the groups of podcasts. What are they called? I think networks, like podcast networks. I think that's always a good thing. I would assume. I don't know. I would imagine if you talk to someone with a network, they might be like, yeah, it's not as good as you think.
Well, I mean, let's think about some of the benefits of network stuff. So ours is you could, in theory, say that you have the Hinton network because it's Karita Cast, Inflatable Falcon, and Star Wars Geek Girl. You could claim the Hinton network or the Hinton channel. Hinton channel family, or the
Hinton
family channels.
Yeah, Star Wars. I don't know.
One of the benefits, I'm going to assume that if they all fall under a channel or a network, that each of the views add up to one. So
yeah, well, see, I don't that's the part I don't understand, because I do think the networks, at least the people I've known that have been in networks before, they don't use the same feed.
Oh, okay.
So is it just network in name? Like, is there, like, is there an actual, is there some hidden thing that I don't know to turn on in Spotify that puts you and I in the same network? Like,
maybe, but at the very least, with those 3 different shows, because each of the shows talks about the other 2 each time, there might be the chance, let's take the, Karita Cast, Star Wars Geek Girl, and Inflatable Falcon. If the Star Wars Geek Girl would mention our show during Star Wars Geek Girls, maybe 2 people from that listening group would say, hey, we should check out this Inflatable Falcon.
Yeah, I have to get her to return the plugs And
Yeah, the only time that she gives us a plug is when she's making fun of me for using your Restream account to record anything.
well, that's good too. Just really leave her a note. Hi, Zoe. Please mention our podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I
Or
do think along with that, I think I do want commercials for other podcasts.
yeah.
I made a bunch. I think it was Chicago when we went to Chicago. I made a bunch, and it was fun. I don't know if it did any good. Excuse me. I don't know if it did any good, but it was fun. And it would, give us something to put. I'm like, so we're talking podcasts, and I'm thinking, like, what do we do? Like, I like our music. I like that I'm not getting copyright warnings now with our music. So that part I do like. But I'd like to have us just have more like news, do a news section because that's up your alley. You know all that news stuff.
Some of it.
Some of it.
Yeah.
I
One of the
didn't.
things that I don't know if anyone has ever mentioned this to you, so I want to put it out in the universe right now for everyone to hear. One of the things that has impressed me about you for as long as I've known you is that you have this continual itch to be creative in some way, shape, or form, whether it's putting together something for your Halloween walk or putting together a 20-second commercial for a podcast or,
Well, I
having one
appreciate
of
that.
our episodes about something, or even the Empire Striketh Back. There's this gear in your engine that's constantly churning out. What else can we do differently? What else can we do that's fun? Or what else can we do that we haven't done yet?
That's the curse in my head all the time. That's just they tried to beat it out of me when I was younger because they'd be like, just do one thing, you know. But well, I appreciate that. But I just I like solving things. I like doing things different, like new stuff. I just keeps me from, being bored in my own mind. Um, and sometimes it is a curse because sometimes it gets ahead of itself. It gets running too much.
Well, I mean, you've talked about it enough, so for what I'm about to say shouldn't come as a surprise. You'll have 7 costumes going at one time and finish none of them.
Yep.
And I'm the same way. I'm still working on the same custom Mandalorian that I started last summer. And I
Well,
still
yeah.
haven't finished my Tusken, and I haven't finished Krennic, and I still have 2 protocol droid heads that need to be put together, and now I have a parts for a static pit droid. Yeah.
Well, I have been pretty good at not adding to my plate. So, but I am sneaking things in. So,
Well, but you also have gotten pretty good at not doing the stuff that's on this plate
oh
and
yeah,
making a whole nother plate.
yeah. Well, because I was talking to some guys today and they want to do stormtrooper the helmets on spikes like in the Mandalorian
Yep.
for Halloween decorations next year. And so they were talking through all this stuff and like, oh, I'm gonna get some cheap this helmet or that helmet and I kept my mouth shut. Like it was going back and forth in this one chat I was in. Then I was like, just give me an excuse to make a mold, because I've wanted a fiberglass stormtrooper. Like in the early days of 501st, everyone wore FX kits, but then there was these that came from Italy, these fiberglass helmets. They looked just like the regular helmet, but what was nice about them compared to other TK helmets, where they were all one piece. There was no ear gap. It was just someone took one, cleaned it up, and then molded it. Yeah. So here, this is that's like. But see, that's what I like when I see, like, I almost think we need to have like a podcast summit and like lay out like, hey, this is what we want to do for the first 3 months of or whatever months we do just to. I still think podcasters are the best to help other podcasters, and I think too many podcasters still think other podcasters are their competitors.
Well, I've been thinking about that because we've talked about that several times and over the course of the 100+ episodes that we've put together.
176.
plus one, or is this 176?
This is 177.
Ah, okay. I think at least currently, one of the reasons that might be happening, the view that other podcasters are the enemy or other podcasters are the competition, is now we have the makers stepping into the podcast space. And what's also interesting about the makers is that they often come already set up for monetization, it seems. And here's why I say it seems. Many of the shows that I listen to that are done by the makers, there's at least 10 different commercials embedded in their show.
Oh yeah, and well, they come with an audience. I mean, they come with an audience, and I'm not knocking any of them, but it's like they came into the orchard with the lowest hanging fruit, but they came with a taller ladder.
Yeah, and going back to the 10 commercials, commercials don't show up in a podcast feed accidentally.
Right.
So there's structure behind it. And Heather was pointing this out to me the other day. One of the shows that we watch on YouTube, they were thanking their editors, plural, and they were naming them by name. And she just turned to me and said, "This is why your show is so hard to put together. They have a team of people putting their thing together, even if it's a 25-minute YouTube video.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's 4 editors, a script writer, and all that sort of stuff, and we're making this up on our own." And while you thanked or complimented the last episode of Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, I need the world to know it was all Todd's idea. I just showed up.
Yeah.
Todd came up with that idea. Todd's the one that said, "Hey, let's talk about this. It's meaningful. It's important. Let's do it." And I'm like, "Yes, let's 100% do it." And I'm so glad that you thought it was worth listening to, worth talking about. And it was an example.
It was such a good episode that we still didn't even talk about Todd's wedding. You know what I mean? Like when a wedding, which I don't want to spoil it. If you want to hear, you have to go listen to the podcast. But if someone has a wedding like that, and that's not even the biggest part or the most interesting part of the podcast, that shows you have a good podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying anything. They have to go listen to Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy if you want to hear Todd's wedding story. Well, so some of my favorite podcasts come from it. I think it's iHeart Studios now out of Atlanta. And most of them are heavily scripted, and they have writers and editors, researchers, and I enjoy that. I think that's not all the podcasts I listen to, but like anything like non-Star Wars related, it would be Stuff You Should Know and Stuff You Missed in History.
Stuff You Missed in History class.
So like there's other ones too, but some of them they're like more of, but those two I like because you can feel like, it makes me feel like what being a podcaster would be like. Not that that's my dream. I have my dream job, but if I had my second dream, like if like another dream job, being a podcaster would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
I'm gonna guess that Joe Rogan's doing okay.
Well, but he's another one though. He was a celebrity too that came with. I'm saying like the average person like you, me, Holly Fry, people like that, that are just regular Joe schmoes,
Yeah, but for Holly, that's her bread and butter from what I understand.
Yeah. On the spot fact check, there's the best one is Pod of Rebellion.
Oh, with JC.
Yeah, that is like, I used to, I listened, I know Vanessa a little bit, but when they started doing the fact checking at the end of the show, like he lied. Have you ever listened to the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I've listened to all the commercials and everything.
Yeah, and I love that fact checking at the end.
Well, one of the benefits of having, like, they don't have to be in this part of the conversation. We could say something about a bantha, and while we go on to the next topic, they're behind the scenes looking up bantha, and then they show up at the end like, "Oh yeah, you mentioned a bantha, which was really an elephant in a big costume."
Yeah. Well, it just means that you and me need like 3 more people on this show every week. Do you think we could? I don't know if we could wrangle up 3 more people that could do it weekly. John, we kept John for a little while, but um, but yeah,
Well, it might be one of those things where we'd have to rotate responsibilities. Where, this week you're the producer part, you're the behind the scenes fact checker, and then next week I do the fact checking.
I tell you, my next podcast I do, I just want to show up. I just want someone to say, "Hey, Mike, we want you to co-host this with me. Just show up." That's what I want. I don't want to have to worry about setting up Restream. I don't want to worry about any of that stuff. Like today, I went down the rabbit hole of comparing because my Restream account will come, due it in the winter. And I was like, well, let me check another one, and so I was checking, and then
So I'm gonna have to join another.
no,
streaming
you know
platform?
what? Restream. So when I looked, and then I went to reviews because I went to reviews from people, and I went and watched some on YouTube, and actually Restream overall did better than for dollar and all that stuff.
And Restream is not a sponsor of this, but we will
No,
gladly accept their sponsorship.
I will gladly take a sponsor. Yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true. Well, I ran into it. I ran into it when Zoe started podcasting. Um, is they wanted the girls were little, and so some of the requests I got from stuff I just had to like delete because they wanted it to be more like sexy fans. I was like, these girls are 14. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
The
I have a face
closest
for
sexy fan you're gonna get is me in pink shorts. That's
yeah.
the
We got
closest.
Ken in pink shorts. I was told I had a face for radio, so it is. I mean, I was listening to you guys. I'm like, man, I am way older than those guys because when you were talking about when you first saw Star Wars, I am old enough to remember World Without Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I can, I remember $6 Million Man and Planet of the Apes, and we dreamed of something like Star Wars, and then Star Wars came along. So I remember when your action figures were dolls.
Well, were you of the era where you didn't want people to call them dolls?
I didn't really care. I got hand-me-downs from my neighbor, so if it was something to play with, I didn't care. My one half sister had a Donnie and Marie van. I used that with my GI Joes, just like a Jeep. We loaded the van full of GI Joes and pushed it down the
Going on
hill.
an adventure, you need cargo space.
Yeah. So we had the Mego. We had Mego too. They were dolls too. Because they had clothes and everything.
Is that what separates dolls from action figures?
No, I don't know about that, but I think that's why I think we talked about last week, but that Johnny West or something, that Western figures, I think that was part of the reason why they molded all the clothes on, because some people thought it was like a little torrid that people could take clothes off, because the original GI Joes didn't have any underwear; they were just like all skin tone
Eunuchs.
Yeah. So I don't. I've always worried about people that think kids really worry about that stuff.
Well, or like they'll never see it ever, even though they're carrying the parts with them.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when they became action figures. There's I bet you. I think there used to be a documentary about the GI Joes. I bet you it's in that documentary. I bet you there's something like But now, have you heard anything?
Well, in my case, I really need hair. I really need hair, period. And we'll just call it a day. I mean, I miss the days of being able to dye my hair different colors.
I have some on top, but I got a haircut, and then that drives my students nuts because they're like, did you get a haircut? I was like, yes. Middle schoolers will be brutally honest.
Well, I mean, you could do the typical thing that people of of my age bracket say when that question is asked, did you get a haircut? The only correct answer is no, I got them all cut.
Yeah, you can't say that to middle school students because they don't understand that, and then they think it's something you just said something way worse than what you just did.
Well, at least you're not saying, well, 6 or 7 of them.
I say 6'7" all the time in my class. They don't say it in my class anymore because I said it so much they're sick of it. I wore a big pendant with 6'7" on it during the one day. I 3D printed 6'7s for the school store. I'm just like, so the kids aren't even saying it as much anymore because we've just burned them out when the adults are saying it. Like when I'm going down the hall, like I went past the lunchroom and went 6'7" and got the whole lunchroom screaming. Now they don't, you know. So I just, whatever they can, you know.
I sent so Rob, I'm not sure if Tom is a teacher. He might be. All 3 of them from the Bantha Milk podcast are teachers. I sent them something that had the count from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And it had like 6, 7 on it.
Oh,
And
nice,
Rob says
nice.
he printed it out and put it on his classroom door.
Nice. Kung Fu grip, man. I remember the Kung Fu grip on my G.I. Joe. And I was very sad with my Kung Fu grip because I remember one time looking at my G.I. Joe and the middle fingers were cracking from using it so much because it was, you know, it was just cheap rubber and then the fingers would break off. Because if you look at the pre-Kung Fu grip G.I. Joe, now we turn to G.I. Joe podcast. If you look at their hands, you're like, why did their hands are weird? Like they're shaped weird so they could hold guns, but if they're not holding guns, they look like they're having like
Gang
spasms.
signs. Yeah, they're doing gang signs.
They're giving gang signs.
One thing I thought was great about the G.I. Joes in comparison to the Star Wars figures, at least the early ones, was just the sheer amount of articulation in them.
Oh, the little
versus- I
ones.
mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Even the 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joes, their wrist rotated. Whereas, you know, so you could have them, you know, doing the gangster sign or the, you know, holding a rifle the right way, but with
Only the
early-
Tuscan could shoot gangster style.
Yeah, because he can just hands up, like do the Rocky pose. But the rest of the action figures were just the 5 points of articulation.
Yeah. Poor Chewie and the Tuscan. They were the worst. Because Chewie and Han, because Han could only hold the little pistols because his arm was bent. All the other he was the only one with a bent arm. And Chewie could only hold that bowcaster because it hooked on his thumb.
Well, the Hammerhead was tough too because his hand was so big.
Yeah.
They had to make a special blaster just for him.
Yeah, no, did he have a regular blaster?
I don't think so. I mean,
I think he had a E11.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. There was another character.
Yeah, there was a couple. Like I know, like Bosk had a weird hand.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But you know,
and I think was it Pondo Baba that had a different hand than what was in the movie? Because I thought in the movie there was 2 versions of him. One was like a hoof, and then the other one was like a hairy hand. I thought.
Yeah, it was a hairy hand. It was this hairy hand that got cut off. It was laying on the.
Yeah.
You know. That was. Oh man. I remember when that arm got cut off. I was kind of freaky as a little kid.
Yeah, and then in Empire they do the same thing to the Wampa.
Yeah, it's like Hand City in Empire. Luke loses his hand, the Wampa loses his hand or arm. It's like a Jedi, like that's Jedi 101. You go into a room, there's a whole bunch of like wooden arms and just go slice them through.
Yeah. Hands down the worst injury.
Yes, there we go.
So considering the toys, the early toys, the 5 points of articulation, and here we are in 2025, about to turn 2026. What are your thoughts on them putting out current characters in that 5 points of articulation style?
I like them better.
Really?
Like you know when they make the jumbo ones? Remember the one we gave away?
Yeah, well, I think the jumbo ones are a special breed, but like
right,
to
but
go back to the 3 3/4 5 points of articulation.
I like that because that's a toy to be played with. Like, there's no you get one or 2 accessories with them, but if you lose the accessory, you can still play with them. You know, I just remember my girls. I think the Clone Wars was like the height of just good action figures with stuff like that. But they broke all the time. Like literally sometimes pulling those stupid little rubber bands off of them. They had all those clear rubber bands on them.
Yep.
You would break the figure trying to get those stupid rubber bands off.
Yeah, and I wanna see a behind the scenes video on how they put those packages together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, how in the world did any human being wrap up the figures in a package that way for production?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those rubber bands were so tiny and so tight when they were brand new.
Yeah.
And to your point, trying to get them out of the package, oop, there goes a foot or a
Yep.
hand.
Or in yeah. So but I like those figures when the girls played with them, but I think back like we never you had to seriously try to break a Star Wars figure when we were kids. You know, there was not besides the joints being worn out from play, but that was still hard play. It wasn't like the second day you played with it, the figure couldn't stand up.
Yeah, we're talking months into it.
Yeah. So I like that. I mean, I think don't they have like a new line that's similar to that?
Well, they have it's the retro line.
Right, but don't they have another line that's like slightly bigger
Um,
and it has like yellowish packaging? Yeah, that one. Yeah.
well, I still think this is more than 5 points of articulation.
Oh,
But I
okay.
could be wrong.
But like the Stormtrooper only had 4 points.
Yeah, because his head didn't turn, right?
Right. Chewie only had 4. Some didn't have legs, so they only had like 2 or 3.
Like the droids, some of the droids didn't have
Yeah,
legs.
like R2 had well, I guess his head turned, so he had 3.
But then you had the one droid that was a gray body and it had like 10 or 11
Yeah.
white
I have
white
one of
ar-
those somewhere around here.
white arms on the base.
Yeah, the medical he was one of the medical droids. Yeah, I have him somewhere. Yeah, those they came later and those weren't as well liked because they broke so easy.
Yeah, because it was that plastic on the arms was of a different consistency of the body.
Yeah, it was like a brittle plastic.
Yeah.
I had the what was it? The thing that hooked up to the Millennium Falcon. I never had a Falcon, but I had that thing that hooked up to it with the hoses.
Oh, the like the fuel thing?
Yeah, it had like a fuel thing with wrenches and stuff.
Yeah.
I never had the Falcon, but I always had that. So after we talked this week, I went and I was watching some guy printing ATSTs. And so I went to the place that has the files and I found the files and I was doing math calculations to do a scaled AT-AT for 3 3/4 inch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Well, I
then
saw a guy who had on Instagram, I think it was, where he printed out a Slave One.
oh yeah, yeah. There's some nice files out there, and there's some that are already in color. So if you have a multicolor printer, it just snaps together.
Yeah, there's another seller that's on Etsy, and he has done figures that were never produced. So he has
Oh yeah,
he has
yeah.
a bunch of that, like he has Gormanda and the entire Wookiee family from the holiday special,
That's a crime.
and I'm not that I've ever lied to you before, but I'm not gonna lie now. I was really considering getting myself some of those for Christmas.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
bad thing about it is if I remember correctly, not only do you have to put them together, like he sends you the parts for them, I think you also have to paint it.
Oh yeah, that would be a Wookiee's a tough paint. It's a tough paint job.
Well, if you want it to look right, I mean, you could just do it the old school 3 3/4. It was brown and just some of the accents were different colors.
Yeah, yeah. Well, by Jedi they started looking better. Like I look at that Stormtrooper, which was one of my favorite ones as a kid. It's not a very good Stormtrooper if you
No.
compare it to what the Biker Scout looks like.
Well, also too, if you go back to how they were Jim Swearingen and the team, they were given a couple
Yeah.
like black and white pictures from the making of the movie. Like, here you go. This is what you get to make these toys. It was before the patents were put out there. It was
Yeah.
before the actual movie was put out there.
I did watch what was it? Toys That Made America or something like
Toys
that.
That Made Us.
Or Toys That Made Us or something like that. They had the Star Wars thing.
Yeah, that's a good documentary.
Yeah. So Ken, before we're okay. What Star Wars things are you thankful for
Which
on Thanksgiving Eve?
on Thanksgiving Eve, well, beyond just it, because there's so much of it. I am thankful for this. I'm thankful for these kind of things that resulted from Star Wars fandom. I mean, if I didn't have a desire to make something that I saw on the screen, I wouldn't have shown up at that random house in Pennsylvania to learn how to make a mold of a Mando coin. And I wouldn't have been invited to a fan film. I wouldn't have been invited to your house for a Tusken armor party. I wouldn't be, here we are 177 episodes later, talking about Star Wars. So I'm thankful for it.
And what have we done 2 or 3 panels?
We've done 3 panels and 2 conventions.
Okay.
So one of our, the last time that we did Fan Expo, there was an inflatable Falcon panel and there was a rambling Star Wars
Right.
So we were able to be co-hosts on each other's shows. Yeah, so this sort of thing, this togetherness, this sharing that comes from my my fascination obsession with Star Wars. Oh,
you stole mine because that's what I was going to say. I was going to say literally all the fandom, like all the stuff from building costumes, from doing podcasts, helping Zoe do podcasts. Like her podcast has opened more doors in her real life than I ever imagined.
Well, did you hear the rumor
that
in New Jersey, Paramount? This is the rumor I'm spreading. Paramount is going to be opening a studio in New Jersey.
Are you saying that for real?
That's a rumor I'm saying for real. I'm pretty sure that's what I had heard.
Well, we'll see.
New Jersey is a little bit closer than California.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, Zoe's living the good Cali life, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. She's having Star Wars podcast Thanksgiving. She's having Thanksgiving with Steel. So it's like that's as Star Wars podcasting Thanksgiving as you can have.
Nah, you could be on the Pot of Rebellion.
Well, that's true. But
Steel was in Star Wars, but not to the degree that Vanessa Marshall and
No, but he was in 2 different productions too.
How many seasons of Rebels have there been?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well,
that's Zoe. That's the one thing. Vanessa has been kind enough to do Zoe's show multiple times, so I have nothing but respect for Vanessa and all the help she's given Zoe out in California. So, yeah, I'm thankful for all that though.
And a little bit more personal is as goofy as it sounds, as poor of a communicator as some folks might think I am. Doing this show has helped me get better than I would have been without it.
Well, yeah, I got a compliment. I think it was a compliment from one of my students. Because I always block my students if they chime into any of my stuff. And they said, "Oh, Mr. Hinton, you seem so confident and normal." So I was like, "Okay, I'll take that as a compliment." Nice. Well, because when you teach middle school, you have to measure every word. Like you have to pre-think. Okay, I'm going to say this sentence, and now how can they?
Yeah, could this be some sort of an innuendo that I don't know about? I mean, 6, 7, 6 of one, 7 of the other.
Yeah, so you'd be surprised. Yeah, so that's again, it does help me. I mean, the one thing I like about podcasting too is you can project. If you just watched our show and didn't know anything about us, we don't come across any differently than someone who has 100,000 watchers every night. Yeah. We just fake it till we we think we're going to make it.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, let's think about this, or let's talk about this. So this is we're recording it through Restream. So we're using this software that's available to anybody. It's being put out into the universe on Facebook and YouTube
And
right
TikTok.
now live. So somebody in Europe or Australia could be listening to this.
Yep.
And it's the same thing that every other streamer, YouTuber has available to them. So in some ways we're equal to all of those folks, whether it's one subscriber or, mega fans like Sue and Todd who come on every week. It's equal.
Well, and we could I mean the we could Milli Vanilli it if we don't have the looks right. We could just get an actor and we could just send him what to say.
Well, or we could use AI and come up with animated characters.
That's true too.
So we do the talking and it does we could create AI avatars.
That would just be very disappointing for when people came to our panel.
Because they didn't get to see the
they'd be like,
7-foot
wait a minute, I thought you looked like Fabio.
So, my younger days.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just want to talk podcasting. I know I can't do it next week, but you're welcome to do it if you want. If not, that could be our Thanksgiving break.
Well, I mean, considering you've done a couple episodes when I wasn't available, I think it's only fair that I keep the torch lit, and maybe Todd will be kind enough to, if he's available next Wednesday, to come on and chit chat for a little bit with the world.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Because this has definitely, not only has it connected us, and Todd and Sue have mentioned it has connected us to this greater world, this greater.
Now, have you or Todd ever done a live stream?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when we record Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, he streams it through his account.
Oh, I did. Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's just it is amazing what we can do. I just think of the short chain in the years that I've been doing podcasting, how things have gotten so much easier thanks to COVID. Yeah. We have one plus look side for COVID, besides all the deaths and terrible things that happen. That is the technology did kind of step up.
Well, and the benefit of this is, all of these settings that you have put into place right now, I can use them even if you're not here.
Yeah. So you're saying I'm worthless?
No, this is just one of the benefits of me piggybacking on your account.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy. I just wanted to get used. I that's the plus side to all this technology. So yeah, I keep thinking like we have coming up. Here's our ending with our coming ups, which could probably turn into our half-hour talk. We have the Empire Striketh Back. So not next week because I won't be here, but the following week I'll have the info. Like I'll put something up where people can sign up for that. We'll come up with a date that episode. We have the Act 2 of the Empire Striketh Back. We have hopefully the Golden Tauntauns somehow coming around.
Well, usually when we did that was in February,
right? But I'm gonna badger Zoe, so just to tell her, because because of her career, she knows way more about the award season and all that kind of stuff. So, we'll see. And if you want to see her spreadsheet abilities, watch the latest Steel Wars with her on it, and Steel does a 10-minute talk about her spreadsheet abilities. So I have complete faith in her organization when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then I don't know what's happening with Matt. I know Matt has some stuff coming up with the Han
Well, you
Solo
were involved
conference.
in the invitation to record lines, right?
Yeah, I just didn't look at that yet. I did get it. I mean, I don't know. That was like, if I'm going to sit down and talk into my computer, I'm just going to call Ken and we'll do another episode of Light Wolf Falcon. But yeah, I saw that. I actually, Marcus had messaged me today and asked me if I was going to do something. And I told him I'll sit down over break and see if I just have the wherewithal and then I'll do some. But we have that. I would like to do that central that group. I would like to open it up probably sometime around January to see if anyone wants to go film something else. Like if anyone has a script, you know, maybe Todd has a script. We'll just go. I just go film somewhere. You know, just I don't care.
Well, I want to go to that one place that Marty had mentioned in Pennsylvania, where it was. He says he's photographed
Oh
weddings,
yeah,
and
it's like a
graduation.
foundry or something up near
Yeah.
Reading. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I want to open it up. I just want to. I want to say, look, does anyone have a script of anything, and what can we do just to make it like I just want to do that again. I had so much fun being part of that.
Well,
But the fun is starting to wear off because I want it. I want to see it. Like I don't know what the window of time is to get a movie made, but I feel like it's gone past for I want another one. You know.
well, I mean, with that in mind, I mean, what if we don't necessarily have a script, but we've got ideas? So, for instance, we have 5 people in costume, and we decide to go, you know, get lunch at Five Guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we recreate the Beatles record cover with some of us walking across the street, or
Any of that. I want to do something for a day and then have the results in a meaningful short amount of time. Like I'm all for editing and I understand the making movie process. But I also know if you never get a final product, it's the same as if you didn't do anything in some ways. I mean, we still had fun. It doesn't take away from that. But I also think if you can't get the final product out there, then
well, and the other thing that we could do is there are, like, for instance, you and I have never been to um, New Egypt together, where they
right.
have the cockpit for the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
We could record either commercials there, or even interviews there with a bunch
Yeah.
of people in costume. I'm sure Big Mike would be all for it. We could
Yeah.
arrange something like that. One of the benefits of that is it could be self-contained, meaning we don't have to be outside and relying on the weather.
Right. Right.
So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think. I think I'm just going to open it up to that group, and I'll have to get Todd and Sue and get them in that group on Facebook too, because a lot of people are asking, like, hey, when are we doing something like that again? I saw Andy, and Andy was saying something about it the other day.
Yeah.
So
and one of the cool things is we have connections.
yeah, there we go. Published author right there.
Shoot, we could even, speaking of connections, we could possibly ask some of our other friends to just send us a recording of them saying these 5 lines. We promise to use them in family-friendly ways. They're going to be incorporated into this thing. I mean, Kristen Baver better than I do. Maybe she would record something for us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I would like us to do our next panel where we're like, hey, we have another film in the works, like I'm sure the Inflatable Falcon. I am sure the Han Solo Chronicles are going to be cool when they come out. I'm just getting impatient.
Well, and to that end, and it goes back to what I was saying about you before, this constant, or not constant, but persistent creativity. That's where we start using those juices for other things. I mean, going back to the people that we know, how much pressure do you think we'd have to put on someone like Steele to record 15 seconds of saying, "Hey, I'm Steele, and if you want to listen to a funny as heck podcast, you should check out Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy with Todd and Ken. Those 2 knuckleheads will keep you laughing for at least 6 minutes."
Well, my thing with Steele is I'm just trying to get him to come on this show.
Well, let's do it.
That's so I'm going to wait till after.
We have him get us on his show.
Yeah.
even if it's for 20 minutes. We talk about, stormtroopering or whatever.
Yeah. 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 That's what I mean. I just want us to keep going forward. Like I was looking at merch linkable sites, other than TeePublic and all, like that we could link to our site. Like I was looking because I have the domain for the inflatable Falcon, so I'm like, you know, I just need one of these weeks to have like, I here's what I need. I need a good snow day, is what I need. Like I need
Yeah,
a
but aren't you gonna have vacation soon?
Yeah, I know, but I have like right now when winter break hits, I have a feeling I'm going to have a 60 projects. Like because Vader is like getting to the point of almost done, and so it's
Well,
like
why don't you have Zoe put together a spreadsheet for you
that's
of all
true.
so you get up in the morning on Saturday, you spend 15 minutes drinking coffee and some mushroom tea. You have some nacho cheese and some vegan
No, the
meatloaf.
nacho cheese has to be made out of sweet potatoes, Ken. Come on.
I thought it was um
Cashews too.
where's the hearts? Don't you
Oh,
make
that's
something out of artichoke
the
hearts?
no, you're thinking of hearts of palm.
Hearts of palm.
That's crab cakes.
Crab cakes, that's right. Well, what do you make chicken nuggets out of?
Chicken nuggets can be wheat gluten like seitan, or if you buy them in the store, if you buy good ones that are like not chemical crap, that's usually pea protein.
So would you call chicken nuggets satanic?
They made out of seitan, so seitan inside.
Okay, so yeah.
There is a shirt with forks in a pentagram, and it says seitan inside.
Oh,
Now, if you have a gluten allergy, it would send you to Satan pretty quickly because
okay, fair enough.
it's basically made of 100%. Like I buy powdered gluten to make seitan.
Okay.
So
And then you just put Frank's Red Hot on it to give it the buffalo flavor.
now you got to mix in different spices and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But if you're going to do buffalo, then we just do cauliflower.
Okay. Yeah, I've had roasted cauliflower
Yeah.
before with spice on it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It actually look like the shape of a brain kind of thing.
Yeah. No, there's a cookbook called Thug Kitchen.
Oh, I love that. I have two of them.
Yeah, they're all vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got very salty language.
Oh yeah. I took one to school one time when I first got it, and I didn't realize that. I just
Yeah,
thought I was like,
and you
oh,
still have a
crap.
job?
No, I just kept it in my bag.
Oh, okay.
Actually, people would probably be more offended that I was reading a vegan book. That's one of those things that parents get all worked up. I had a parent that really didn't like me one year because he found out I was vegan. That was the only reason he didn't like me. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't try to convert them, did you?
No. I always tell kids I'm vegan, so there's more meat for you guys to eat.
Fair enough.
We used to have right after COVID, but even before, we always had what's called connection before content, meaning no one will learn from you if they don't feel some sort of connection. So my connection before content that's how I've always built my classrooms. Like if you walk in my classroom, if you walk in my classroom, it's all Star Wars with a little bit of superheroes. That's it.
Okay.
Like all my quotes, like I used to have quotes of famous people in history. And the problem with famous people in history is what you find out is most people aren't 100% good and 100% bad. Like you could have a quote from this great actor, Bill Cosby, telling you great things in your classroom for years, and then whoops, I got to take that one down.
Yeah.
So
that one didn't age well.
Yeah. So I decided to put all Jedi quotes and Mandalorian proverbs and stuff like that in my room and all of that. And yes, car repair. I don't really have any car repair lately.
Well, my check engine light did come back on.
Well, what's the code?
Well, when I brought it over to Auto Parts or something, one of those places, they said something about catalytic converter.
Oh, that's not good. Do you have an oil leak?
No, not that I'm aware of. I checked. I did check the oil, and it was fine.
Yeah, just fill the oil all the way to the top till it's coming out the top. No, just don't do that.
Well, I thought if I put oil in the gas tank, it would be fine.
Yeah, it makes it go faster.
Okay.
Makes it slide right along the road. I know my one cousin filled her oil up to the top till it was coming out of where the lid was. Like yeah, so because someone's told her to top off her oil, like they checked her, said you should go top off your oil. So she thought that meant
To the
literally
top.
in her. It was a Dodge Daytona when we were kids.
Think you give me my headlight fluid?
Yeah, blinker fluid.
Blinker fluid. That's what it is.
Yeah. I had a car with only one blinker. I had a 52 Ford, and it only had a brake light. It didn't have turn signals.
Really?
It didn't come factory on those. They were optional.
How do
And
you
then-
use hand signals in a car?
Out the window. So left is straight out,
Yeah.
and right is up in the air.
Oh, I just thought that'd be confusing because it'd be like you're just holding your hand there.
No. Yeah, no, but yeah, no, my car hit 300 and I think it's close to 330,000. So my and I think Sappy's car hit 225 the other day. So I think we have 500,000 miles between our two cars. The car with the least amount of miles on it in my house is 122.
I'm surprised you haven't converted your car to like cooking oil.
I looked in. So the Scion there was a conversion kit to make it electric, but the convert in like 2008. But the kit was like 40 grand. I was like, oh, we're gonna spend 40 grand to make a $14,000 car electric. That's ridiculous.
Well, for $40,000, you just buy another car.
Yeah. So I still get close to 40 plus miles to the gallon. So it's hard for me to really go elsewhere.
Do you put it in neutral down hills?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just drive stick shift like I was taught. Here's how someone taught me to drive stick. I had a 68 Ford Indy H, bought at James Way, stick shift. Someone bolted to the floor. It wasn't even a good bolt job. It was off centered. And all I remember is I think it was my grandfather or my stepdad. They just said, drive it out the road. Don't put it in first when it's moving. That's all they told me. And so I just drove, and then by the time I got back from the road, I knew how to drive stick. Like I started all bucking, and then I just kept driving, and eventually I figured out, and I just remembered not to put it in first when it was moving. And that's been my motto. That's how I taught Zoe to drive stick, kind of. I was like, just you could do this, this, and this, but never put it in first gear when it's moving. And my clutch has 320,000.
Yeah, but don't you have to put it in first gear to get it moving?
No, but when you only put it in first gear when it's still. You never like if you're rolling a little bit, you don't even put it in first gear with the clutch. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was taught. And again, my clutch has 320 some thousand miles on it. I haven't put a new clutch in my car yet. So whatever I'm doing, it must be pretty good. So
maybe depends on how you define good.
I had a bug that didn't have a clutch pedal. The clutch pedal broke off. So that car, you would put it in first and start it. Wow, it was in gear, and that's how you would go from this. It would, boom, and then you would just go.
Huh.
And then I had a 68 bus where my throttle cable broke driving home. So I cut all my speaker wires out, tied them to my hand, and ran them out the back, out the window.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God, I ran it out the back of the bus and through the trunk lid. I had the trunk lid propped it open. And my hand out the window. That's how I pulled the gas to get home.
No, you didn't.
I swear.
Oh, I know you swear. I've heard that. I've heard you say that.
Missy laughed at me. We were just dating. It was a pink 68 or 68
How
Volkswagen.
long did you do that for? It couldn't have been long.
Oh, I did it for like 10 miles to get home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, the plus side. So here's the one thing. Zoe loves being able to drive stick. She gets to park if they have special parking for Paramount. She gets to park on the lot because the valets can't drive stick.
How do you get a job as a valet if you can't drive stick?
Because no one has stick. I mean, aren't most of the the luxury cars aren't those manual? No.
Like the Ferraris and stuff like that?
A lot of the newer ones aren't.
Okay.
Like that. I mean, how many people drive Ferraris? I'm saying if
you're working at Paramount, I would guess a couple.
Well, I don't know, but for the average worker, when they have to be valet parked when there's special events, like because it's and
Yeah.
the last time they had one, the valet looked in her car, came back and got her and said, you could just park over there because they couldn't drive stick.
Because I bet George Lucas has stick shift cars.
Oh, I'm sure he has stick, but you know, I don't think I don't. I mean, I don't know. Stick started going out pretty quickly in the 90s. So people younger than us have never, some of them have never even ridden in a stick car.
When I was in college, one of the best things about having a stick shift car is I'm sorry, you can't drive it because you don't. It was, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And there are those automatics that you shift, which are annoying. Is I had one friend who he had a regular automatic and he always shifted it, and then he always wondered why his transmissions went, but he shifted it like he was driving a stick shift. Or the guys would put shifter kits on their old Chevelles when I was a kid and stuff, and they just play. I don't know. I'm a simple man. I like things to just do what they're supposed to do.
I bet you they probably couldn't make a meal out of hearts of palm and cashews.
They probably couldn't. Well, listen, and it's just to bring our automotive back to Star Wars. And I've said this before. Anytime I've worked on anything that's like just give me a headache, I always think of Han working on the Falcon. Like that's like my dream state of like if I'm like have to do something that's crazy. See, it's stick shift minute at
manual minute.
There you go, manual minute. See, you're the man with the but I don't know. I think that's why I appreciate pulling down the hyperdrive levers at Batu. Like that's like I thought I was going to tear up when I saw the Falcon, but I felt myself almost tearing up the first time I got to pull the hyperdrive.
Well, just so you know, it's all changing.
Why?
So they're going to soon be transitioning from the Hondo Anaka storyline.
Oh yeah.
To Mandalorian and Grogu, and from this is the second rumor I'm spreading tonight.
Okay.
The second rumor is because of that storyline with Mandalorian and Grogu, it's not going to involve Hondo, so they're going to have to retool Smuggler's Run at Batu.
Oh, nice. Well, that could be cool.
Yeah. Hopefully they also add stuff. Hopefully they keep Star Tours and add some Mandalorian and Grogu stuff to that.
Well, didn't they? They did add some Mando and Grogu stuff, I thought.
I thought they added Ahsoka. I don't know if they added.
Oh, no, okay. They added Mandalorian. Yeah, I don't know.
Did they add Mandalorian? Because I thought they took them to. I thought one of the new locations was Peridia. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I don't.
That could be a lie.
I am sure whatever they do is going to be great. Yeah. Zoe did Life Day. She wore her Life Day robes and everything. She went this past Friday, and she did Life Day. And Chewie called her over to get pictures with her in her Life Day robe.
Nice.
So, and our friend Judah, he painted the Life Day globe
for Chewie.
Yeah, because he now works. No, he for Chewie. He now is the head guy in charge of all the costumes at Batu.
Hello, that's awesome.
For Lucasfilm or for Disney. So that's why you see the costumes looking better now. So because they have someone who did costuming for the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
maybe they'll bring back Star Wars weekends.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know. We'll see. I like Star Wars weekends. I mean, Star Wars weekends had some deep cuts. Like the last time we were there, they had Rex and Ahsoka, which was a pretty, I mean, for the average person, no one other than kids were probably watching that.
Well, I went one year and they had Asajj.
Yeah.
Asajj and Aura Singh.
Huh.
Or maybe it wasn't Asajj. No, maybe
in costume? In costume?
In costume.
Yeah.
And they had
Yeah.
the big display that looked like action figures.
Yeah,
So
they had the action figures. They also had the prisoner one. Remember, you stick your hands in the, it looked
there
like a
was
pipe.
that one, and then they also had
Vader's thing.
Vader's his
Yeah,
bed. Yeah.
because they're still sitting somewhere.
Yes,
You
unfortunately,
know,
and
they're
it's not here. We
yeah,
don't have access to them, which gives me another idea for another one of our gatherings. We should do some brainstorming on some small sized props that we can bring with us to conventions. So the photographs that are taken are a little bit more dynamic than just 6 costume characters standing in a row with whoever's there in front of us.
yeah. You know, it'd be the best is a giant inflatable Falcon behind us.
Yes, it would. Now, if Jesus would loan us one, that'd be fantastic. Or if folks would get involved in our Kickstarter program and buy us one, that'd be even better.
Yeah, I got to rethink that. It got booted because I didn't get any money for a year, so I got to get a new one started. We
Well,
should just start.
Steel would just give us a plug every once in a while.
Which would be easier, to start a Kickstarter or start a Church of the Inflatable Falcon? Which would get money quicker?
Well, the church might be faster, especially if we have regular
Wednesday night,
meetings. Wednesday
Wednesday
night. So
services.
we just have to pass around the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
inflatable Wednesday.
Venmo us $2.
Yeah, Venmo's to $2 if you don't want the force to hurt you,
or if you don't want us to fill your inbox with random emails.
There you go.
I'll put your name on a timeshare list. Give me $2 and I won't.
Right.
Well, it has definitely been a fun Thanksgiving Eve.
It has. Well, again, I'm thankful for all the stuff that Star Wars has brought me, from this, from meeting you, Ken, Bishop, the whatever. Do you have a title? Podcaster extraordinaire. If you were making a business card for your podcasting, what would it say under your name?
That guy.
Oh, that guy. Okay, so I know Ken, that guy. You know, yeah. We've done some cool stuff. Like I still think back, those panels were some of the most fun I've had with Star Wars.
And people showed up. It wasn't just us talking to empty chairs.
I wish I would have taken more pictures of the audience just so I could prove to people that there were actual people there that were maybe 50% just wanted to rest their feet, but that was a lot.
Comfortable chairs.
Yeah,
come on now.
So, anyway, I'm thankful for all of that. I'm thankful for all we get to do this every week, and again, this is 177. We're going to be into the 200 soon.
Very true.
So there we go. Let's end this again with this wonderful song about me and Ken. And everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you rate. You make sure you like, subscribe, share podcast. Because again, if you don't, it's just like stealing. So have a nice Thanksgiving, everyone.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey! crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy far. The Falcon's ready, let's raise the bar. Hey! 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 Hey, hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon.